3 characteristics of leaders that help you to create a huge impact. Hi everyone, my name is Johannes. I'm an expert and career coach for careers in consulting, finance and management. And in this video, I want to talk about characteristics that really help you as a leader to create an impact. And here with our coaching programs, we have already helped more than 100 clients to achieve their career goals in consulting, in finance and in management. And we have helped numerous leaders who work as project managers, as VPs or as a business owner to take their career and their business to the next level. And what I want to do today is to reflect a little bit on my experience as a project manager in a strategy consulting firm as well, but also based on the experience that I made with so many leaders that I worked with in the past to improve their business, to improve themselves, and also what I learned from other people that I look up to and that I try to learn from. And I want to talk about like 3 characteristics that help you to create an impact as a leader. And let's start with the first one. And I think the first one is actually a tricky one. And it sounds very simple, but based on the discussions that I have, very often I have the impression that it's not so clear. And this is that you have to understand what good leadership actually is. And if I would ask you now to write down what makes a true and a good leader, I mean, maybe you pause the video for a second and think about it or write it down, what makes a good leader for you? I think it's not a trivial question. And when I ask this question regularly, to the people that I work with, then, I receive a lot of different answers. I receive answers like, they have to make the team happy. They have to make an impact. They have to inspire, they have to do this and that. But the one definition, or like what makes a true leader for me, is the following. Many of the leadership principles can be taken from the military, because like this is like the form where historically speaking leadership was important for like thousands of years. And if you would ask someone in the military what a great leader is, then they would say it's someone who gets the job done or who gets the mission done. And I think this is really important to understand. And if you take a look also at the business world, I mean, what are great leaders? Great leaders, I don't know, maybe Steve Jobs, someone who can accomplish like great things, who, leads the people to achieve a goal. Or, maybe a great politician, Nelson Mandela, someone who achieved a goal, okay? So basically a true leader is someone who gets the mission done. And I think this is so important to understand, that this is the one job that you have as a leader to get the mission done. So whatever your mission is, so if you work in consulting, maybe it's to succeed in a project and maybe making the upsell. If you work in finance, maybe it's closing the deal. If you are in management, then maybe it's growing the business. So it doesn't matter. So think about, what are you hired for, or what is your goal? And even if you're a business owner, what is your position? What is your job as a leader? And what is your mission that you need to accomplish? And everything you do should be centered around that. And of course, it's important to inspire people. It's important to, have an impact. It's important to, take care of the team members. But all of that, you just do it to achieve your goal. And this is really, really, really important to understand. And this is also the first characteristic. So all the great leaders that I know and that I worked with, they understood what their role is and what their job is, and it's basically to get the mission done. And that is so important. The second characteristic is that they take huge ownership. And there's even a book about it. It's called Extreme Ownership from Jocko Willink. He's an ex-Navy SEAL, and I really, really like the book, because I think like between Navy SEALs and like smaller consulting teams or investment teams or management teams, there are a lot of similarities, and that's why I love this book. But I knew this before, but this book really illustrated the importance of taking ownership. And this means that as a leader, you take the ownership of everything. Everything that happens within your area of responsibility, you are the one responsible. And this might sound a little harsh and difficult at the beginning, because like of course mistakes happen, and maybe someone in the team makes a mistake, or maybe your client behaves in a difficult way, or maybe there is an economic impact, I don't know, a recession or something, and you say, hey, what can I do, right? It's not my fault. But this is a typical mistake that I see all the time. Of course you can, you always can choose how to react to something. And let's say, that there's a recession. Of course you can say, hey, it's not my fault, what can I do about the recession? Or maybe, it's not my fault, it's a difficult client, or it's not my fault, the team member just didn't perform or made a mistake. But at the end, this attitude doesn't help you to get the mission accomplished, right? Because you can expect if this mistake or if this incident happened one time, it will probably happen again. So you will get other team members that don't perform, or instead of a recession, there will be another economic impact, that might have a negative business, and it will be probably also not be the last difficult client that you will have throughout your career. And the attitude to blame others doesn't help you to improve your position. So the most productive way in dealing with that is to take the ownership and take the responsibility for yourself. And this means that you answer, or that you react to every problem or to every mistake that happens in a way that you think about, okay, what can I do differently? It's my responsibility to avoid that. What can I do in order to avoid that in the future? Okay, so how can you make sure that the team member, even if he or she is not performing, how can you deal with that? So maybe in the future you replace them earlier, or you teach them, or mentor them more closely to teach them the skills, or maybe you send them to a training program, or maybe you establish better mechanisms to track the performance, right? These are all things that you can do and where you as a leader can take responsibility. It's the same with a client. Maybe you should have done better stakeholder management, right? Or maybe you should have involved some other people that might be able to manage the stakeholder a bit better. Or in terms of a recession, maybe you should have more cash resources. Maybe you should have a contingency plan, something like that, okay? So it's always more productive to take the ownership for everything, that happens within your space. And this will help you to grow and to learn and to get the mission done. That's the second characteristic, that people who are really true and great leaders, that they understand this concept. And the third characteristic is that all the great leaders have their ego in place. And this is also really important, because you are just, you as a leader, of course, you are an important factor in the success of the mission. But the mission is more important, right? And even if you are a business owner, you have a mission, right? You want to help people, you want to serve the customer, you want to, build an empire, whatever you want to do. But at the end, you are just the, execution of that mission. So you, at the end, you are not that important. And what I see all the time is that people who have leadership positions, especially if they've been junior for a time and then finally, get into the leadership position, that they put their ego first. And this is definitely something that you should avoid, because this will stand in the way of getting the mission accomplished. Because if you take more care about your ego and that you look good rather than getting the mission done, then this can slow you down and this can lead to mistakes. So let's say, for example, if you want to be definitely the one who, gets all the praise, for a successful project, but at the end, maybe this makes your teammates angry and they don't perform anymore, or they leave the team, that's not good. This doesn't help the mission, all right? It maybe helps your ego in terms of you feel good for a moment, but it doesn't really help the mission, right? And there are many other examples, right? So maybe you are the one getting the big bonus, okay, at the end. But if you put that first, then maybe you optimize more for the short run and not for the long run, because you need to get the mission accomplished, all right? So the great leaders that I know, they always check their ego and have their ego in place, because it can stand in the way of achieving the mission. And that is so crucial, okay? So check your ego. And these are the three main characteristics that I saw at leaders that really get things done. So first, they understand what great leadership is, and it is, getting the mission done. Second, they took ownership, they took extreme ownership, and really, take responsibility for almost everything that happens within their space of responsibility, within their space. And third, that they check their ego and put the mission before themselves, and that is so crucial. If you want to improve your leadership, if you want to become a manager, a project manager in consulting, or if you already are a manager in consulting, if you want to be a VP in an investment firm, if you want to become a better manager, or if you want to build your own business, because here, of course, you also have to be a leader, then feel free to reach out to us. We have coaching programs that can help you to achieve that goal. If you want to get in touch with us, then please go to careerbootcamp.org. So careerbootcamp.org. This is our website. And with that being said, I wish you a very successful week. Talk to you soon. Goodbye, Johannes.